Comparisons are already being made in the public sphere between this week's attack on the police command headquarters and the Nigerian Correctional Custodial Center in Owerri, Imo State, and the series of events that eroded the decade-long Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast of Nigeria. While some security analysts say there is merit in the effort to compare both situations, others have been quick to dismiss such insinuations as wide of the mark. But to get more on this, we are now being joined by Dr. Ona Ekhomu, a management and corporate security consultant and policy analyst, chairman, Transport Security Systems Limited, and president, Association of Industrial Security and Safety Operators of Nigeria. Dr. Ekhomu, it's good to have you again on the morning show. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Ruben, and thanks for the things you do for this country. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, very quickly, let's start with the front page story today. On the front page of this day, we have Abdul Salami, that's General Abdul Salami Abubakar, raises the alarm, says 6 million weapons circulating in Nigeria. And in other papers, we have the headlines indicating that about 80,000 persons have been killed and 3 million displaced as a result of this. Now, the question is, what do we do about the proliferation of small and light weapons in the country and the implications for national security?
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I think small arms and light weapons, like I've tried to indicate before, they provide capability to the bad guys, whoever they are this time, whether they are jihadists in the northeast, whether they are bandits in the northwest, whether they are herdsmen, militia in the north central, or whether they are kidnappers in the southwest, south, and southeast. And now we have a new threat in the southeast, whether they are separatists like IPOB. They give them the capability to carry out their attacks. Take the case of the Owerri prison attack. I think the government likes to call it correctional facility. It means the same thing, it's prison. Now, the Owerri prison attack, they went in there. We don't have the estimate of attackers that went, but they went in their numbers. At least we have an estimate of about 20 vehicles that came to that facility. Now, they deployed tactically. They deployed to secure the state HQ, that's the Imo State headquarters. They deployed to the prison facility itself, and then they set off explosives at the administration block, and then breached the main entrance into the prison facility, disarmed the personnel there, and then set the prisoners free and set the facility on fire. So if in a security analysis, if you go to page 85 of my book, you will see that's exactly the same sequence of events that Boko Haram undertook when they attacked Bauchi prison September 7th of 2009, which was like their I'm coming out message, when they freed 759 inmates, and 500 of whom were Boko Haram fighters. So what Shekau did in that case was he just liberated his fighters, and he had an instant army. So that's that in terms of capability. But back to capability, the weapons, the question you asked about the weapons floating. And I don't want to join issues with our respected elder statesman who midwifed democracy in Nigeria and say that his figures were really badly understated, because we know the figures that have famously been quoted around for the past 5 years, maybe 500 million light and small weapons floating around in West Africa, 70% of which is in Nigeria, and that's 350 million. That is the kind of number I want to go with, because I have seen situations where container loads of AK-47s have come into this country and they have disappeared in a matter of hours. They disappeared somewhere. That's a lot of weapons. And those are just estimates. They are not actual. If you go out and do an actual head count, you will find the kind of weaponry, the kind of capability that is in the hands of non-state actors in this country. So I think to answer the other part of the question, which is what do we do about it? Well, we have to deconstruct this problem. Insecurity is becoming such a huge elephant in the room that is taking up all the space in this room, is sucking up all the oxygen in our discourse. And it's an existential problem. It's not a political problem. Politics, you can have political hyperbole. You can talk, perhaps, gibberish. You can say whatever you want to say. You can extend it. You can make it look fatter than it is. But in security, real people die. Real assets are destroyed. And a lot of them are irreplaceable. So you have, you just quoted 80,000 people killed somewhere in Nigeria due to insecurity, and then 3 million displaced. These are people that are suffering, real suffering. And so I think because this is not, you know, there is no consequence, there's impunity for political actors and even for now the bad guys, the terrorists or whatever you want to call them. Just because there's impunity for them doesn't mean that it should be sustained, it should be allowed. So we need to change this narration. We need to change this narrative. We need to turn a new page because whatever it is we are doing up to now hasn't worked. Now, the president has done a few things. He has changed the service chiefs and even down to the police level now, just in a couple days ago. And we need to now task these people, these security operators, to see what they can bring from their own playbook. First, to stop the threat, to stop the violence, because that violence must stop. For you to have development, for you to have good governance, build roads, build schools, build health centers, stop the doctors from going on strike and all that, you must have stoppage of violence, you know, such that there is a condition of peace. There's a condition that allows legitimate activity to go on. So the military option, the policing option, the law enforcement option is one. Now, we know that there's a lot of problem with the architecture because this policing that is centered in Abuja that doesn't know what is happening in the countryside is no longer working. And it must be jettisoned, or it must be strengthened, rather. Perhaps not jettisoned, but strengthened. How do we mean? I confessed on your program some time ago that I am now an advocate of state police. So I think that's a way to go. Certainly community policing initiatives like the constabulary system that's coming in now, that is good. Those are more or less security guards, but they have the colors of government, which is good, which is great. It's like they are like the supernumerate police guys that we used to have under the, or that we still have under the federal system. So we need to look at those instruments of coercion. Those ones are important because you must first stop the violence. And now we now go back again and deconstruct this crisis, the whole insecurity. For example, there is the reason for insecurity in the Northeast is jihad, proclaimed by Boko Haram. They are a very tiny sect. They are a tiny Salafi Wahhabist group that's trying to impose their demented, if I may call it that, views on the rest of the Sunni population. Certainly the Shiites don't share with them at all. So they want to impose the rest on the rest of the Sunni population, and perhaps they're even trying to impose it on the whole of Nigeria if they could. So that should be addressed because there are some issues there. They had core issues which they raised, which had to do with poor governance and also poor addressing of security threats that gave rise to the monster we are seeing there. Like the president said in his May 29th speech, 2015, he said that small fires grow into big fires. Exactly, that's what has happened. And this thing now is enlarging, as it were. So we need to look at that again and see how we can bring that. Because my problem with Boko Haram is, like I said elsewhere recently, is that Boko Haram has now inspired terrorism all over the country. The problem in the Northwest is economic jihad. That's how I described it before. It's really based on poverty, opportunism, criminality. But now they are getting inspired. They are changing their messaging and they are saying that they are freedom fighters. They are fighting because they are poor. And I mean, these are just useless criminals, if I may use that nice English on them. So, but they are now changing their messaging because they are inspired. And now look at the kinds of attacks they are carrying out. You know, they are showing Boko Haram influence. Now look at, let's take the line down to Southwest. Well, I said that those ones are inspired. The other ones are aspiring. The ones in the Southwest, that is the bandits and the herdsmen in the Southwest, kidnapping people and all that. I said those were aspirational. But now just look at the new problem we just saw on Easter Monday in the Southeast now, where we have a copycat representation of the September 7th, 2010 attack of Boko Haram on Bauchi prison, just replayed. I mean, every page in the Boko Haram book was replayed out there. So you see, we have Boko Haram inspiring terrorist attacks all around the country, but for different reasons. The Eastern group, they are a separatist group, and they are complaining about poor governance in the country, and perhaps, in fact, also marginalization. The people in the Southwest, it's the guys from the Northwest that are attacking them down here. So we have a different problem there. They are being invaded. The Southwest is, in fact, being invaded. That's what it is, by the guys from the Northwest. Take a straight line down. I will call that connecting the dots in intelligence analysis. And then the people in the Northwest, they are a source of problem because also we have a lot of foreign fighters. We have the Sahelian problem, which has informed that. And then this artisanal mining of gold, which is part of the part of the equation, the security equation there, a very big part of it, because that's how it started before they migrated to the farmers when business was going bad for them there. And then, of course, all of it is getting oxygen, you know, huge tanks of oxygen from Baba Boko in the Northeast. I think we need to do something about these problems.
You have painted a vivid picture of a complicated. So my question is, are there any solutions? Surely this challenge is not insurmountable.
Oh, yes, certainly, Ms. Tundun. Good morning.
Morning,
there are solutions. Thank you, ma'am. There are things that the government has a lot they can do. This problem in the Southeast, I worry about it because it's a separatist problem. It's based on real issues. Amotekun can deal with the problem in the Southwest because there's an invasion in there, and Amotekun can rise up to the occasion. And there are other arrangements that can be made that can help. Now, of course, we see Mr. Igboho with a separatist agenda coming in the Southwest, but it's not catching on because, you know, that's not a popular narrative for that area. The Southeast narrative is also not popular, but it's loud. It's loud because the government has not dealt with the problem of Nnamdi Kanu. And the government needs to look at that and come up with brilliant ideas of how to solve that problem, because you have somebody who is not on ground, who is not paying anybody's salary, who is, you know, in fact, has no stake in Nigeria, and he's trying to foment problem here, as it were. And unfortunately, a lot of young people are listening to him, and they are acting on his words, because that's the real dangerous thing. They are acting on his words, and it's a problem that the federal government must do something about. Now, the problem on the Northwest, you have a lot of criminals. And they, okay, let me give you a small parable. Recently, somebody in Kebbi State, Kebbi has not been badly affected up to now. Somebody in Kebbi State got up and said, listen, our youths are being recruited into bandit gangs.
Dr. Ekhomu.
And
Dr.
these
Ekhomu?
youths...
Yes,
sir, sorry.
Yes, I got your point about youths being recruited into banditry gangs. But we need to take a short commercial break, and when we return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us. Well, that report, you were talking about the recruitment of youths into banditry, but then you were also talking about solutions. And then we have this report from Jemima about the attack on another police station in Imbitoli, local government area of Imo State. Over to you, Dr. Ekhomu.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reuben. Clearly the separatist attacks, the spate of separatist attacks is increasing. The number of attacks are widening. Like your correspondent said, third attack on a police facility since Monday. So it's average of one per day in a 4-day, well, not quite one per day, yeah, almost one per day from Monday to Thursday. If he says it happened last night, then one per day because it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so this is quite troubling. And I think there's a need to, get out in front of this program or in front of this problem, because I understand, among other things, that police personnel in Imo State and perhaps in most of the Southeast are now afraid to go out and perform their duties. So, I mean, what's going to happen is that this fear factor is going to give way to anarchy, because this particular separatist movement is also an anarchist movement. So, because I already said to you that it doesn't have support of generality of the people. And so what is going to happen is very soon is anarchical. It's going to take on an insurgent tone, and they are using terrorist methods, to get their put violence out there, let violence speak for them, and define the whole issue. So I think this is a very dangerous trend, and I think Southeast political leaders must regain the narration from Mr. Kanu and his followers, and ensure that they kind of appeal to the youths again, appeal to his followers, that they should de-escalate the violence and give the political process the opportunity to work.
Okay, Dr. Ekhomu, thank you so much for your insights. Quickly, there's tension in the air in the southeast of Nigeria now. The other day, in Abia State, the governor put out a statement, curfew, Arochukwu, Umuahia, and a couple of other parts in the state. There is palpable tension in the air. We keep seeing these attacks. Unknown gunmen. Yesterday, the governor came out to say that, it was not IPOB members. This was a political crisis going on. They're trying to scuttle his government. What is really happening? What is intelligence, saying? And how can we bring all of this to a close? Because if we don't bring it to an end, there might just be an investor sitting somewhere in Japan that wants to come to Imo State to invest, and he's heard this story.
Yeah, well, I think we have problems of governance. We have governance issues. People must buy into the Nigerian dream. There must be hope. People must hope for something better and see themselves as part of the whole Nigerian equation. Now, there will always be criminals in every system, as it were. And there will also be separatists, like we are seeing now with IPOB. Now, every Nigerian, just like myself and yourself, Mr. Rufai, is free to look at the evidence and propose or have their own analysis, their dissection of the problem. They can visualize it any way they like and, say what it is based on, their knowledge and their experience and what have you. And perhaps, in fact, also intelligence, which may not be available to regular members of the public like you and I. So, but having said that, I think clearly IPOB, they appear to be, first they started to plead an Igbo cause, and that's why they are a throwback to the Biafran equation. They started by pleading an Igbo cause, but with the Nnamdi Kanu's incarnation and also his leadership, let's put it that way, yes, he's a leader, as people acting on his words, it has become something else, and it's a concern.
Dr. Ekhomu, well, on that note, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us and for your insights.